They the DJ, we all Dinner at the Round Table podcast.
Welcome to Dinner at the Round Table podcast with DJ John Tavar, Nelly Nell, Chris Ryder, and Bodega the DJ on the ones and twos. Your source to knowledge. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram at Dinner at the Round Table.
GG, I am DJ John Tavar, Lionel, Chris Ryder, Bodega the DJ on the one and twos. We all Dinner at the Round Table podcast. Your source to knowledge. Tonight we got a special guest, Nelly Nell.
You already know Nelly Nell in the house, Dinner at the Round Table podcast, Generator Music Group. We got Elijah here, straight out of Jersey, man. You know what I'm saying? He's here to elaborate his perspective on social change, which is our topic today, social change. There's a lot of things going on right now, JT.
Yes, sir.
We could definitely take a look at what's going on right now. Chris Ryder's down there. One of our very own is down there where the protest is going on, man. He's live and direct.
Yeah, live and direct right now, man.
Dinner at the Round Table, giving it to you raw and official, live and direct. So, Chris, how's it going down there, man?
Yo, it's fucking crazy right now, bro. It's
Chris,
crazy
where
right
are you exactly, though? What location?
I'm on 49th and Fifth Avenue, and we're going back down to 6th.
Damn, man. Well, you don't got your Dinner at the Round Table badge around your neck as media.
I should.
Yeah, man. Like, you don't get
know,
attacked.
hopefully, yeah. Nah,
you don't want
you
getting attacked down there, brother.
Yeah, it got pretty crazy, though.
But little did they know that you're a killer yourself, so you might shank them.
I'm ready for that.
Of course, you got to wait for that. But, yo, so far it's been, it's gotten a little crazy, but not too much. It's been peaceful so far. It got a little crazy when they tried to loot the Nintendo store, but they another protester stopped it real quick.
So Elijah, just to give you a little insight, Chris Ryder is a trained assassin. He's a butcher. So if they fuck with him down there, you'll cut somebody real quick.
Hey, good to know he's ready for it, though.
He's ready. But let us see a little bit of what's going on down there.
Right there.
Let's see what's going on right there real quick. Turn your camera around, brother. Look at that, man. That's like JT always says, the powers in numbers, right?
Yep.
There's so many people right now, it's crazy. Like I'm on the side right now though, but I'm gonna try to get I'm at the beginning of it.
Look at that.
I'm at the front of it.
They're going from the east to the west then right there, right?
So we started in Bryant Park. Washington Square Park. And look.
Okay. Get in the middle of the street, man, so we can see the big crowd. While you on the sideline, you scared?
Well, I'm not trying to get hurt.
Go in the middle real quick. Let's see what's going on. We want to see real quick. Where's that guy trying to? He's trying to kick down the barricades.
Nah, he's trying to get the people to walk to 6th Avenue.
Oh, I see. See, that's where the action is at, brother.
Hell yeah.
There you go. You'll be fine right there. Don't worry about it. They don't know.
Be safe out there, bro. Be safe out there, man.
He'll be okay, man. He's a trained killer. He'll be survive. But yeah, man, definitely. But listen, man, that's great that we're getting that footage down there for our listeners and for our YouTube audience. You get to see Dinner at the Round Table live and direct where the action is happening. We're not scared. We're here for social change, right? That's the topic today.
Sir.
So we're proving it by being down there. We send our most fucking ruthless person down there that we have on our podcast, which is Chris Ryder.
You got jokes. You got fucking jokes.
Because I know he ain't scared.
Yeah, you got your weapons on you? You got
Nah.
He has his knife on him. Yes, he does.
Dude, you serious right now? Why would I have anything remotely?
You have to have like a little.
Right now.
I know you have a little shank on you at least.
No, I don't. I have nothing.
I know you don't want to say. I know you don't want to say it live on the air.
I can get swept up randomly, and I got a weapon on me. Come on.
Yeah, but 4 inches is less than 4 inches is legal. Why did your eyes just get all bugged out like that? What the hell happened?
That's all right, though.
All right, great. So, all right, Chris, thank you for sharing that part with us. Whenever you get away from the noise, come back on. You can stay there so we can still get the footage. But the volume, let's bring down the volume a little bit. Just turn off your mic, brother.
Yeah.
There you go. So you already know, man, today's episode is about social change. And, we got a little bit of footage there, like I said earlier. And we have Elijah, the guest, who's very he's very big on sociology. He knows about what's going on currently, and he's a very bright young man. And we're definitely gonna have him chime in and give his perspective soon. But JT, what's
Yeah.
going on with the world, man?
Yeah, man. Listen, I do apologize right now. I mean, I know that I got the sunset is setting right now, right in front of my eyes, and I don't got the shades on my window right now. So this is why you see me like this right now.
Yeah, I was like, that. You look like a fucking vampire, bro. Like, you know, like you're invisible, but you're still there. Like,
yeah, I know, man. It's just the sun. I mean, because the way my apartment is basically the sun sets right there directly to the window.
Oh, okay.
So I can't avoid it right now. But yeah, man, social change, the main topic, you know what I'm saying? You know, definitely something that, you know, I think it needs to be some social changes. You know, obviously what's going on right now in today's society, you know, I mean, it's a lot of things that, I mean, has to change. But I mean, one thing that we definitely got to make sure is this though. You know, we think about social change, we got to think about it as a whole. You know, we just can't think about it for just, you know, a certain type of group, because it has to be done as a whole, as humans, though, because that's the only way we could really transition into an actual true social change. And the way I look at it, you know, I mean, I say it like this, you know, I mean, you know, I'm just being ruthless. I mean, just being straight up right now, you know, straight up. I really believe, though, it's going to take enormous human suffering, though, in order to bring about real, true social change, though, because as you can see right now, what's going on lately, many people right now have been suffering. And I mean, you know, again, though, I don't condone violence, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I do understand the outrage of people. But, you know, when you think about it from a psychological standpoint, it's really, you know, psychological warfare when it comes to, like, you know, changing things. And what I really believe is that we need an economic revolution. And that's what needs to be.
Sorry to cut you off, fellas, but we about to be heading to the Fox News room right now.
Oh, yeah?
The Fox News is at, the whole protest is going straight there.
Oh, really? All right, so you know what? Head over there and see what's going on, and then come back on so we can get some footage.
I just want to let you guys know that.
All right, cool.
All right, cool.
But yeah, man. I mean, there's a lot of, like you said, there's a lot of things going on. Unfortunately, you know, there's an uproar right now because we the people are tired, and you know, violence is not the answer, but neither has peace been the answer. We've been very peaceful. We do a lot of peaceful protests. That doesn't make any change. Look, Martin Luther King got killed for being peaceful. You know, like, so when things like this happen, bro, it's because people are just fed up and they're tired. They're tired of the abuse. The Ronnie King thing ain't changed anything. And then after that, numerous things happen and it just continue to happen. And then, you know, it's come to a point where it's not even like one race fighting or protesting for what's going on. You see white people involved protesting with us. You see the Amish. The Amish came out of hiding.
I saw that.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, different races are coming in to help because it's about abuse on humanity. You know what I mean? And it's just like everybody's like worried about our future, and people are just tired and they want to make a change. And I'm glad that you know, things are looking like, you know, looking bad right now because there's all this rioting going on and looting, but that's part of the process. No revolution comes peacefully. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't happen like that. And you know, we have to show them that we are the ones that control things, not them. You know what I mean? And all this stuff about looting, I don't care if you loot Gucci, loot all those stores, Gucci, Nintendo, Nike, those are all big corporations. They're part of the problem. Because if corporate America was to really think about it, why wouldn't they stand behind us, the consumers, and march with us and protest with us? So you know what? Fuck, loot all them dudes, loot all those big companies, Gucci, Target. They got insurance. They're gonna get all that money back, and they're gonna be fine. So I mean, it's just insane right now what's going on. But you know, like, looting is not the way to do it either. But if we're trying to make an impact and show the government and corporate America that they need us, we don't need them, that's the way to go. You know what I mean? Basically.
I definitely get what you're saying, though. I mean, before we get our guests on, I want to just point out one thing, though. I mean, you mentioned Martin Luther King Jr. And, you know, like he was, you know, there's been speculations about Martin Luther King Jr., which I highly admire. I learned a lot from him. But, you know, for me, though, I think what really got him assassinated wasn't really about him ending segregation. It was about him really thinking about the socioeconomic inequality in which he was trying to actually pass a bill to create a universal basic income, because at the very end, he was able to understand it's about economics. And once he started talking about economics and inequality, aside from segregation, that's when I said, you know what? We got to find a way. We got to take him out. And, you know, unfortunately, that's what actually happened. That's why, you know, in our last podcast, two podcasts ago, I spoke about social inequality. And it really stems with social inequality because classism, again, is the father of racism. You know, so it really stems with inequality. It definitely stems with, you know what I'm saying, like this economics itself, though. And we really got to be more informed about that. And that's the way we're going to definitely see some social change when we become more empowered economically as a society, but especially of those groups that have been so deprived for so many years already. But let's get our guests on, though. I mean, what's your take, though, Elijah? What's going on, man?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Chilling,
Welcome
man.
to the show, man.
It's like an honor to be here. But yeah, man, with all this crazy stuff going on, what we really need to do is just unite as one. Everybody thinks like, oh, it's black people against white people. It's us versus police. It's not. Cause now, like with this ACAB stuff, now we're just generalizing police the same way that racists generalize us minorities. You know, like, and honestly, with all like the looting and all that going on, that's just violence. Like, and how violence plus violence, hate plus hate is just more hate, bro.
I agree.
It's not gonna get us anywhere, bro. Like, we gotta just show the racists that we gotta educate the racists. We gotta show them that they're wrong. Because George Floyd, right? People are saying that it wasn't racial intent, but even if a cop isn't racist, there's always slight racial like doings with it because of like racial prejudice. I did like a 12-page essay on well, racial profiling because like they literally teach you the racial profile in the police
Academy.
teachings.
Yeah, they do. No.
So excessive force, he probably thought since he was black he was stronger, but like he's just another human just like everyone else. You shouldn't use his skin to identify him and use excessive force. It'll always be connected to race and all that. And we just gotta like educate everybody that there's like not really between all of us if we're all human, you know?
I agree. 100%. I mean, like again, like I said it earlier, though, it has to be done as a whole. It has to, because at the end of the day, all of us are human, you know, and we got to really break away from this false idea of creating this idea that's been invented to basically divide and conquer, because that's what it really, you know, boils down to that, of dividing and conquering, because that's how you actually get people, you know what I'm saying, as far as like controlled, when you divide them. Like, you don't want people united because you can't control people that are united. So you got to keep them divided in order to keep control.
And that was exactly my point earlier, that with this a situation, we have to understand it's not just about George Floyd. It's not about him. It's about years and centuries of abuse and oppression. And you know what I mean? And okay, the George Floyd thing set it off because, damn, we're in 2020. We should be better than this by now, you know? And you are seeing people united. Like I said earlier, we have, you know, we have all people from all races and creed joining forces to protest right now.
Yeah,
which is beautiful. Like, that's so beautiful to me that finally, because in previous protests, sometimes it's more sided to one race protesting. Typically, you know, us, the Black and Latinos. But in this protest right now, you're seeing Caucasians united with African Americans, with Latinos. You're seeing people from different creeds, Jewish people, Amish. You know what I mean? Next thing you know, you'll have fucking the Buddhas walking with us too. You know what I mean? So it's just like you're seeing the unity, and unfortunately, there's a few bad apples that have been looting and causing chaos. But again, like I said, when there's a protest, that's part of the protest. There's going to be a group who's going to disrupt and take advantage. There's going to be another group who's going to make the real protesters that are trying to do something peaceful look bad. Like, there's several things going on, and, like memes and conspiracy theories about, which is not really a conspiracy theory, but white supremacist groups are going around looting and burning buildings to make us look bad too. You know what I mean? But whatever, let's not get into that. But what I'm saying is we're seeing the unity right now. And to touch up on what Elijah was saying and what JT was saying, when we're united and together, it works out better. Absolutely. I totally agree with that. But resolution sometimes comes with awareness. And there hasn't been such a big amount of awareness the way that we're doing it now these last couple of days, because even with the Ronnie King issue, LA was the area which was mostly rioting and protesting, but not the rest of the country. This is the countrywide protest. Like, it's in all major cities. You know what I mean? Like, it's everywhere. It's not like it's just in one place. You know what I mean? So this is a real big thing, and I think humanity is in the right now, is headed to the right direction. Even governors of states are in agreement that this is enough is enough. Governor Cuomo actually said something that I want to share right now on the chat. On the podcast. I'm in so many chat groups on WhatsApp. But anyway, I'm gonna play a little bit of the Andrew Cuomo clip so you guys could. You probably already heard it, but let me play it real quick.
It's not like a situation that you can't understand.
All right, let's put it.
When does it change? It's not like a situation that you can't understand. Here's a minority. Here's an African American. Here they are being abused. And it's the same situation. It's been 30 years since Rodney King. Amadou Diallo in New York. The reporter won a Pulitzer Prize for the reporting. Wow, great job by journalists. Great job showing the injustice. And what happened? What was the resolution? Where was the progress? Eric Garner? No, I'm with the protesters. Thank you very much.
Yo, that takes a lot of balls to do that, because typically the leaders political leaders typically don't come out and say things like that. And doing this event, you've seen many mayors of cities, governors of state actually come out and actually speak their mind and say enough is enough. This is wrong. Like, I'm with the protesters. We need change.
I get it, and I applaud that. I applaud what he said.
That was Andrew Cuomo, by the way, the New York State governor.
Yeah, the son of Mario Cuomo, who was a former governor. But I will say this, though. I think it has to be a new tactic, though, when you're trying to really spread awareness, though, because honestly, our guest Elijah just said, it's going to basically incite more violence when you take it to that level of just looting and, you know what I mean? Like, you basically make them try to justify of them doing things of showing that, you know what, we have to have martial law. We have to have a certain type of system in place.
Fellas, I think it's very important you guys listen to this right now.
Go ahead.
Okay, wait. Sorry, we got Chris Ryder tuning in live, so we got to get what we can while he's there.
You guys can hear it?
Yeah, definitely. It sounds like it's live down there. But JT, like, I totally agree. I understand where you're coming from, and I'm not arguing that fact. And you're right. Looting and causing violence is not gonna bring us. It's not helpful. But also being quiet and being peaceful and not going outside of protest, that doesn't help either. So something has to give. For change, there has to be peaceful protest, and also show them that we can hit them hard too, bro. That all revolutions are not done. Revolutions are not done peacefully. You never seen an overthrow of a government. You never seen changes in government. When people go take over a country and they change their government system, it's always started off peacefully. And then when they don't listen to us, we have to revolt and we have to show them that we also can hurt them. And how do we do that? By hurting corporate America. I don't care about Target. I don't care about Gucci. Those are billion-dollar companies. They can afford to lose a few merchandises. You know what I mean? They can afford to. They have insurance for that. So you know what? And that, I mean, for me personally, looting is not the way. But if it has to be done to make an impact, I'm all for it, bro. Why not?
You know what? As you say that, though, I mean, again, though, I totally understand where you're coming from. But the best way to hurt them, though, is by hitting them by the economy. And the best, to me, the best,
and how do we hurt
most
the
effective
economy?
way to hit
how
them.
do we hurt the economy? We shut down the stores that we mainly consume. Target shut down because of that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But what I'm saying, though, even to go deeper than that, what I'm really talking about is boycotting. Take your money away from the economy, because the economy relies on people spending money. And who's the biggest consumers? We are. We are the biggest consumers. Take your money out the economy and you're going to see change. Think about the Montgomery in Alabama with the bus boycott. Once people stop taking the bus, you know how much money those bus companies lost because these black people didn't want to go on the bus because they was boycotting? This is what I'm talking about. Boycotting, when you take the money out the equation, those white people are going to start to listen. They're going to start to listen because they depend on us. Because honestly, you know, I mean, and just be ruthlessly honest though, we are conditioned to be consumers. Like, who makes this economy run though? We do.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? We're the one that overspend.
We can show them
and that make this economy run.
Yeah.
So once we take our money out the economy, now you're going to start seeing people listening to us.
Yeah.
And that's what we got to start doing.
And we have been doing that the last couple of months. I don't know if you've seen right before the whole quarantine COVID-19 thing, there was a movement in New York. And it's going around throughout the whole country where there's a day where nobody pays their fare. All the students, you seen that? It was like thousands of students just happy to train and not paying their fare.
That should be on everything, though. It should be on everything.
That affected the MTA for 2 days.
Yeah, no,
you know what?
Like that on everything, though.
It doesn't take a day. You can't. It can't be 1 day, 2 days. It has to be numerous of days, months of them. We showing them that we're not playing any games, because 1 day is not going to affect them. 100 years, 100 years of abuse or 400 years of oppression. 1 day is not going to affect them.
But I will say this though, when you think about police brutality, right? Yeah. They target people that you call of color, right? Not because of their color. In all honesty, if you really think about it, it's really because they target them because of their socioeconomic condition. Because, I mean, let's keep it real. These are people that are very vulnerable and have no power or wealth. That's it.
Yeah,
so
you're right.
When you have someone who has no power, no wealth, they become an easy target. And this is what's been going on for so many years. You know what I'm saying? Because you never see a police officer shoot a Jewish person that's running away from them. You know why? Because that person has power and wealth. You know how to move around them. Perfect example. Look about what happened with those rabbis in Brooklyn when they had that social gathering. I believe it was a funeral for a rabbi that he died of COVID-19.
Yeah, you didn't see the cops trying to separate them, and they were there watching, and they were trying to basically, but they weren't like pushing people. They weren't pushing people around, telling them they couldn't be together.
That was it. But what happened a few weeks later in Brooklyn again when there was a barbershop party? And the police busted them. And what happened? They took everybody out that party and had them lined up on their knees had their hands behind their head and lined them up.
Yeah.
And arrested a few people. But you see the difference though, right? Because they could do that. You know why? Because they know those people have no power and no wealth. And that's why they're able to do that to them.
You're right. But that's the main core of the problem. The social economical system, like you said, the Marxist theory. It's all about that, right?
Yeah, it's all about economics,
that. Man. So having a system like that creates classes.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And you have the poor class, the middle class, and the higher class. That's the problem with that, and you're right, until we change our social economical system, it's gonna be harder for us to basically get a voice. You know what I mean? We're law enforcement. But Elijah, what do you think? What are your thoughts about what we just were chiming in on as far as The social economical system.
Um, honestly, I feel for police brutality, there could be like more simple answers. You know, like
Yeah.
a police officer, he commits any type of bad deed, murder, anything bad that he thinks he could get away with. They need to like actually punish them, bro. Like, when was the last time you heard of a police officer actually getting a fair punishment like they did with George Floyd?
Exactly. You're right. It's been a long time. There's a statistic from 2005 to 2000 from 2005 to 2020. 100 officers have been persecuted for misconduct and killings and shootings. Right, 100. Right, and only 25% of them actually got convicted. The rest either still have pending cases or just walked away clean. That's crazy. Only 25%. So it's insane. And those are the ones that get caught on video or there's proof that they did something. How many cops get away with shit that people don't record?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's like
Very
Will
true.
Smith. Like Will Smith said, like, like it's just like, there's more videos now. Like he said a quote the other day, Will Smith. I posted it on our chat, where he said
Yeah,
is it's just that now we have more evidence of racism because
yeah,
we're
man.
able to
We said,
record.
we said it in the podcast. It's now it's being
Yeah,
more revealed. That's
more
what it is. I
revealed.
mean, it always
Yeah,
existed, but now it's being more revealed because of technology now, of cell
yeah,
phones, cameras, etc. So I mean, now we get actually get to see it. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So
and
that's the only difference. But it's been going on for the longest
yeah.
already.
I mean,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
I think there's a lot of factors that go into the change that we're looking for. Definitely the social economical system. The social economic system definitely has to change. Um, we have to get better at that, right? And also, we have to train these law enforcement officials a little bit better. Um, they go through that training, formal training in the academy for 6 months. They go into the force. They're on probation for 2 years, and during that 2 year span, or within 5 year span of them working, they're dealing with rude people. They're seeing blood shed on the floor. You know what I mean? They see murders. They see everything. So that psychologically affects people. So how is it that like in my job where I work at, I get evaluated every 90 days to see if I'm still like cut for the job. You know what I mean? And I'm not doing like a hard nosed job like the cops are, but I still get evaluated. Cops don't get evaluated unless they do something wrong. The only time they get evaluated is when they're in trouble. You know what I mean? So I think we got to get better at having our political leaders enforce like a stricter agenda um, on the cops when it comes to they're keeping their job. You know what I mean? Like if you're a cop, if you're a B cop, you have to get a psychological evaluation at least once a year. If you're a detective, if you're a homicide detective, a six
Yeah.
months, a 6 month evaluation because you're seeing gruesome and
Right, right.
gory stuff on a daily day basis. So you might not be mentally fit for the job. You go out there, you see a guy, just walking around and he throws a little wrapper on the floor and you want to kill him just because you have blood on your mind. You know what I mean? Blood on your head. It's just crazy, man. It's just insane.
No,
I
I
think
mean, as you say that though, I mean, again though, I mean, to be a police officer, definitely it's a hard, difficult task. You know what I'm saying? But again though, they deal with people also that are going through a lot of economic stress though. And this is why they behave the way they behave too though. This is why they are so much exposed to these things that can be so traumatizing to them. But when you're able to change that condition, you know what I'm saying, it could definitely alleviate a lot of the problems that's going on right now. Not to say it's going to eliminate everything, but definitely alleviate a lot of the problems that's going on right now. And I mean, I'm 100%. We still need policing. Like, I'm not against anything. Like, we still need some sort of policing because anything can happen. You know what I'm saying? But we need to focus on the overall issue, though, and it's the economic system. The economic system itself of why crimes are committed to begin with. Crimes are committed to begin with because of poverty, period. Poverty generates crimes. That's like, it's evident. Like, it's no argument. It's not even like a debate behind that. So we got to think about the economic system by itself as a whole in order to change this whole system and how police approaches certain people. Because again, like I just said, we still need policing. I'm not saying I'm not taking that away, but we need to change the economic system overall. And that's the way we're going to see true social change. That's the only way we're going to see social change, by changing the economic system. And that's why I was so for the UBI. And I really see it. I see it happening though, because so many people right now are fighting to not be evicted because they've been laid off. They can't get unemployment and they can't pay off their rent now. So what's going to happen to those people right now? So it's going to be a big fight. It's going to be a big battle. If this quarantine's over, right? If or when it's over, trust me on this, something's going to change. I guarantee it. It has to.
No, it has to. I mean, listen, the year is year 2020. 2020, universally, scientifically in the universe, is known as clarity, right?
Fellas,
clarity.
I'm gonna step away from the protest, charge my phone real quick. I'll be right back.
All right, great. We'll see you soon, buddy. Just put your
great footage though, right? That you had?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks a lot for being there, bro, and for not murdering nobody down there.
And you know what? I'm gonna say something right now, man. The crowds in this thing is so diverse. It's crazy.
That's what we were just talking about.
Every color, every sexual orientation, everything.
That's what we were just talking about. That this is the first time in that I've witnessed myself, and according to statistics, that you've seen people of all races and creeds together to reach an objective, because everybody's tired. Everybody's tired.
And it's not just the young people. It's old. I seen an old white dude walking.
Yeah.
Old white dude.
There was this lady with a sign.
Now,
she said, I'm 70 years old, and I can't believe I'm still dealing with this shit. Like, she was a white lady. She was around when the old, with other protesters came about.
So right now, for what I've been gathering, it's not the older dudes like me, or Nelson, or Jason. It's the young cats that want to loot. It's the young cats that want to get it popping. Because I was just in a group of like, I would say 20 or 30 young kids, and they're like, "Fuck that shit, yo, we loot right now. We can get out of here by 11." And it's the young people, bro. And a lot of the times, I've seen like them start destruction, and other protesters like, chill. Nah, we're not doing that. We're gonna protest peacefully. And so far it's been peaceful. Like, I could feel the young people wanting to start their shit, but honestly they haven't, bro.
That's what I was telling. That's what I was saying on the podcast, that it's only like a selected group that's doing that. You know what I mean? And that's not the way to go. But you know what? It's part of the protest. Like, we cannot negate that, even though, you know what I mean, there's millions of people doing the right thing. There's going to be 100 doing the wrong thing, taking advantage. But that's part of the revolution. That's part of the revolution. It is. We can't. That's unstoppable. There's always violence and looting when there's a protest. That's normal.
And it's
that's normal. That's part of it.
And the thing is that right now there's a revolutionary atmosphere right now. Like, don't get me wrong, I was a little scared in the beginning because I didn't know what to expect.
You sure they weren't scared of you?
Nah, at Madison Square Park, I didn't know what to expect. But
oh shit, they're coming for you, Chris.
I thought the cops was gonna be mad aggressive. I thought the cops was gonna start their shit. To be honest with you, the cops, they have not been aggressive at all, bro. At all. They've been chilling. Yeah. They've been letting people rock. And like one dude was stomping on a cab, and undercover went up to him and was like, nah. He stopped. And then they kept moving.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what it's been like.
They don't want to upset the rest of the crowd too, because there might be, a few of them that don't want to hear that.
Yeah, but there's a way of being respectful and letting people know this can't rock. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You gotta be peaceful.
Yeah, but I'm glad. Go ahead. Yeah, I'm glad you're down there, brother.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you get that exclusive footage right there too, though, man. People can actually see what's going on.
Yeah, because I've been in the front of this protest since I started, in the front. So it's been real, bro. It's been real, man. I wish I had more battery to be, to be more. But I was protesting. I think it's been like an hour.
That's good, man. You getting in your steps for the day too, bro. How many steps you got already? 20,000?
I don't even know, bro. I started in like
I see you sweating a little bit too, though.
Yo, bro, we went all the way up to.
So they caught you, Chris. They know you. You're the cow killer.
Yo, I've been walking. I think I walked at least 3 miles.
Yeah,
so far.
Oh, yeah, shout out to Chris Spider though, man, going out there, you know what I'm saying, just actually show him that live footage, man, and see that, you know, the first time that was going on.
You see how scared he got when they put the signs on him? He thought they found the body. He had a fucking.
Yo, but the shit was crazy because when the dude took up a Citibank bike and he threw that shit at the fucking Nintendo store, and I thought it was over. I thought it's on, and everybody's gonna start going crazy, but. I think a protester or two came in and was like, no, we're not doing this right now. Keep going. And the cops came. It was like 4 or 5 of them right here posted up in front.
Is that,
quick question, Chris Spider. Was that person white though that threw that whatever you said?
I don't know. I wasn't close. I don't know if it was.
Because I want to say something as you say that. Most of this looting, from what I saw, has been started
a lot of white people.
A
lot of white people involved, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It has been, but you know, it wasn't. I think it was a black dude that did it. I'm not sure though.
Okay. I'm just
asking. Black dude, I don't know. But he was all in
profiling
black.
right now, bro. What you talking about,
I'm
man?
not profiling.
I think it was a black.
They were all dressed in black, so. No, the body type look.
Okay, cool.
Not profile. I'm just saying, look, the body type look.
The body
but then
type.
again, I've been wrong. Yes.
Why? Because they were athletic and muscular?
Yeah, like, you know, white people
like
they have a weird.
Right now.
What are you talking about?
Weird,
this fucking muscular, this muscular and athletic white guys too.
Nah, it's like if you look at a Spanish.
Oh no, wait, they're
girl,
Italians. They call Italians, not white. What the hell?
Because of how her body's shaped, you can tell she a white girl. Her body.
Really?
No, not nowadays.
That is so interesting.
Not nowadays, yo. The white girls be having the badunks now.
But I don't know. You guys asked the damn question, you bozos. So I don't know. I don't know
because I'm just going by what I've been watching.
Who's really the bozo? You're the one profiling people down there. Like
I ain't profiling.
You forgot what you went down there to protest for.
Y'all making a fucking thing out of nothing.
You went down there. You forgot.
Relax.
You forgot about what you were protesting about.
Relax.
You're already profiling.
Yo, I'm gonna tell you guys one thing, though, man. Like every time we pass the white people, like in cars and shit, they've been mass supportive, bro.
Yeah, I know. That's what we were talking about. That, you know, Elijah, our guest, brought up the fact that unity and doing everything together. You know, that's where the goal. You know, that's the main goal, to have everybody come together, and that's exactly what's been going on. You've been seeing like people from different races and creeds just coming together for, you know, for one particular goal. But yeah, man. But yeah, so Chris, go charge your phone and get back to us when you're like away from the ruckus.
I just want to say one thing before I go, man. It's been a blessing to be here, bro. Like the energy, the revolutionary like energy it's like it's a weird like buzz in the air, bro. It's like so positive, and it's been crazy. It's like you feel that it's just, you guys got to do it, man. You got to be a part of it. I don't know if you guys have. I think Nelson said he did.
Yeah, I did.
You went to Occupy Wall Street back in 2011, but you know, to all our listeners out there, man, I really recommend you guys, even if you're in it for like, you know, 5-10 minutes, just to be in the atmosphere, I definitely recommend.
I was out there Friday night. You know what I'm saying? Like it started off good and then it got crazy. But
yeah,
I was
man.
out there.
I'll see you guys in about 10-15 minutes.
All right, brother.
All right.
Keep cutting meat down there.
Relax.
But anyway, yeah, man, back to what we were talking about. But definitely social change is a lot of different factors. The socio-economical system has to be a part of it. So we could stop the classes, right? The class definition, right? Defining people by their class. We also have to get better with training our law enforcement officials, and we have to be more united as a people and stop like categorizing each other. You know what I mean? Like that's basically, there's a lot of things. We have to get political leaders in office who are really there to make a change, not trying to make money off of us. You know what I mean? Or make money off of lobbyists who are paying them to push an agenda. So we have to. There's a lot of different factors that go into it, but I think that people are woke right now. People are woke, and people are out there trying to make a change, and hopefully this will be the start of something that could lead up to that. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's got to be very mindful of the approach, though. You got to be very mindful of the approach. And as you said, what you were saying, though, honestly, yes, unity is everything. It has to be. It has to be unity. It's all about, doing things collectively. But I definitely want to point out this, though. Again, though, it definitely stems with social economics, man. At the end of the day, that's the root cause. That's it. That's the root cause of everything that's going on right now. Because when you think about people who've been economically deprived for how many years, how do you expect them to behave?
Yeah.
When George Floyd was detained, he was detained because of what? What was the reason why they detained him? For having a false check?
Yeah. That's
What
crazy.
led this person to have a false check? Because this person is so
You talking
economically
about George
deprived.
Floyd? George Floyd?
Huh? Yeah.
Well, no, with George Floyd, he was at a store. He made a purchase with a $20, with a counterfeit $20 bill. So yeah, he had a $20 bill that was counterfeit. So, sometimes the cops, they shop in the same store that we're at. So I guess the cops were shopping in the same store, and the store clerk told the officers, "Hey, you see that guy that just walked out? He paid with a fake $20 bill." So the cops came out and they noticed that he was going into his car, and then they went to approach him, and then they approached him in an aggressive manner, and he said, "Hey, listen, I don't have counterfeit bills on me. I could have got that from the last store that I picked that up from." Because that's happened to me. Like one time I went into a store, I used a $100 bill, I bought 2 6-packs of Coronas, I got $80 back. I got three 20s, which was 60, and 2 10s, which was made at 80. Right? It was only $20 what I purchased. When I went into another store to use those $20, it was counterfeit. I got that from the store clerk. You know what I mean? So he was trying to explain that supposedly to the officer that he doesn't carry counterfeit bills on him, that it was just that one that he could have got that from a purchase he made earlier, and they just went in on him. They went ham, and then that's how he got murdered.
Well, what creates someone to actually create counterfeits?
Yeah,
that's the question.
You know
what I'm saying? What actually makes it? What's like the motivation to create counterfeits? So again, it still goes back. You know what I mean? It still goes back. You know what I mean? And I can't really emphasize more about it. You know what I'm saying? I just really can't. Like, it's all about social economics, man. And again, though, we think about, particular people that were, the ancestors were enslaved. They built this country. This is why so many white families are so wealthy. And they don't have to go through that deprivation. They don't have to go through that discrimination because of what happened historically, of who built this country. And we all should know already, historically, who built this country.
Yeah.
People from from the ancestors that was here involuntarily built this country.
When you have one race working for free and basically producing things for another race to benefit off of it, of course that race is going to be richer. And that's what happened with slavery. Black people were working in plantations, picking cotton, doing all the hard work, getting
slavery
free labor, while the white people and the masters were making millions of dollars.
Yeah,
thousands of dollars at a time, whatever.
That's exactly what I'm saying, though, because it all stems to economics, though. You know what I'm saying? This is why, when you think about power and wealth, it has so much influence. And that's why when you think about politics, right? I was reading the book, Black Labor, White Wealth by Dr. Claude Anderson. And he made a point about that kind of like stood out to me. He said basically in the book, he said voting don't mean a damn thing.
It doesn't.
If you're not economically stable.
Yeah.
And what he meant by that is that if you're not economically stable, then you can't buy out these politicians the way white folks do.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he's like, if you're not economically stable, there's no point of voting.
Yeah, remember, politicians.
The reason why these white folks are able to get what they want is because they're able to buy out these politicians
Yeah.
who are really there to basically, you know what I mean?
Politicians are gonna look out for the people who donate to their campaign.
Of course,
Basically what it is.
lobbyists.
Yeah.
Of course.
Well, there's a lobbyist, which is a private donation from somebody who has money. There's
bribery though. I call it bribery.
Yeah,
I mean, they
like,
call
hey,
it
listen,
lobbying, but I call it bribery.
here's $100,000. Don't worry about it. I like what you're saying. And then 2 years later, I come to your office. Hey, I got a problem. I need you to take care of it for me. You can't say no about. You can't say no to me if I give you $1 million for your campaign 2 years ago that I need a favor now.
This is why these politicians are multi-millionaires. Yeah. Nancy Pelosi, one of the biggest corrupt politicians today. Yeah, check out her net worth. Look it up. Yeah. I don't want to say it. I want you to look up her net worth.
Oh, talking about that, Obama just became a billionaire.
Who?
Well, Obama just became a billionaire, I heard. So I don't know, whatever, but
I'm not gonna say no more. I'm not gonna say no more, man.
And that's one of our good guys. That's one of our good guys, Obama. But anyway, let's get Elijah on, man. You've been there in the dark, kind of like just listening and feeding into what we're saying.
I'm just observing, but yeah, honestly, I do feel like the economy is a huge problem in our society today. And like, yeah, a lot of white people are up in the economy. Yeah. It's majority white people. And it's because our country has like so little social mobility. And what that means is like, you're born in a lower class, you're probably going to stay in the lower class. That's like what we call the myth of meritocracy in sociology. So the American dream, right? You move to America, you think you could make it big, you start a business, you think you could get rich. It's most likely not going to happen. That like the American dream is just a myth. So when like they gave us colored people,
yo, like, you just hit it right up his alley because he has that
we had an episode about American dream. That's all. But go ahead, chop on that.
Yo, he just happy right now. Look at him. You got a Kool-Aid smile. I think he's gonna watch the show more. Exactly. He's gonna watch you come on the show more often now, Elijah, because you said that.
Appreciate the clapping.
Yo, hold on a minute. I want to say something about the American dream. I have to chime in real quick.
You see? Yo, you heard when Elijah said that? When Elijah said that, JT had a Kool-Aid smile.
Being rich. It's if you want to become something and you work hard enough to achieve it, you live the American dream. And Mr. Jason, Mr. John Tavar, you became a teacher because you wanted to change lives. So you achieved your American dream. And that's it. And I'm going to keep saying that shit.
Yeah, you're right.
Everybody thinks that the American dream is tied to wealth. And that's false. That's false.
Let our guest finish right now, please.
Is what you make.
Let our guest finish right now. Yeah, let him finish.
And then that's it. I'm going to get off because I still got to charge. Bye.
Yo, so back to Elijah. Elijah, what you were saying about the
counter that. Elijah, can you counter that stupidity you just said right now?
Well, listen, I know your family, like John Tavar and me are cousins.
What did you say?
So I know.
What did you say?
What Chris Wright was talking about.
What did you say, Jay?
JT came out of poverty. He got a good education. He became a teacher. He's not rich, but he's able to survive, and he has his he can get by. So he wanted to teach and make a difference in the world. He's doing it right now. So that's his American dream. But he doesn't believe in American dreams. So let's just go back to Elijah. Let Elijah just finish saying what he was going to say so we could get a better understanding of the, the quote unquote, like how the sociology works. So go ahead, Elijah.
I agree with Chris, honestly. Like everyone has a different version of the American dream. But what the majority of the reason is you move to America and you become successful. That's like a lot of people's dreams. I'm not saying everyone, but a lot of people's dreams, right? Everyone thinks hard work translates to success in our country when that's false. And they just got off.
It's okay. Don't worry about it. They'll come back.
No problem. But so you think that, I can move to America. It's the land of opportunity. I work hard. I could become successful. That's not true with our social mobility charts. Like we have charts and statistics that say that if you're born, you're probably going to stay in the class that you're born in for your whole entire life. And it's a lot based on luck. Like you see these rappers coming out of nowhere, coming out of poverty and becoming rich. That's pretty much the majority of the luck aspect. And it's just not really likely. You got other countries with a lot more social mobility. I think like Sweden and Finland. They're socially and economically like above us, honestly. I don't know exactly about economically, but they don't have as many problems at us, is what I'm saying.
And
And
poverty, you mean they don't?
yeah,
And
they have their stuff more under control.
yeah, but I mean that's a great insight that you gave right there, and definitely I don't know if you ever read the this book called Rich Dad Poor Dad. I
I
suggest
haven't
you
heard
read it.
about it.
You should check it out. So, and it basically talks about that most people are inherited. You know, they inherited hereditary poorness is like a big thing. So, like until you change your mindset, you're not gonna be able to achieve um, a particular goal economically because you're stuck on a particular way of thinking, basically. And you know, it doesn't help to have the government and our powers that be influence that mentality. You know what I mean? That's what happens in America is that most people stay poor is because not only because they can't snap out of the mentality, but because the government and our society doesn't help in making them snap out of it. You know what I mean? And I think that's part of the problem as well. Um, so just John Tavares coming back on already. I know Chris Ryder was listening in the background. Just
Yeah, you guys hear me? I'm back.
yeah,
My bad.
just be
When I got
just
the Amber Alert, I couldn't hear you guys.
yeah, just turn all that shit off, Jay. You know we're on the podcast. Listen, so Elijah's gonna tell you. We're gonna let Elijah repeat certain important points that he spoke about that I know you will be interested in that you missed. Elijah, go ahead and say that one more time for us about the social mobility issue that we have.
All right. Yeah, so pretty much like where I left off. I don't know how much you caught before, but it's we're born in a class. We got the working class, the lower class, middle class, high class. You're born in the middle class, you're probably going to stay in the middle class your whole entire life. You're born in a low class, same thing. Born in the high class, same thing. It's like we have very little social mobility. And that's why the myth of meritocracy, where people wish to go to America so they could leave poverty and become successful money wise, like it's a myth for a reason because we have no social mobility. We could barely get the people who were born here to get out of their class, you know?
Yeah, that's I couldn't agree with you more. You know what I'm saying? That's what I was saying. Like people have this misconception that because they see one particular person able to break out of that, anybody could do it. But mathematically speaking, when you think about it, like when you understand economics, though, I think that's the problem, though. People they don't really understand economics and how this system is structured, and they believe, oh, he did it, I could definitely do it. But you got to think about it where, mathematically speaking, who really hoards most of the money in this world? A certain percentage of people, a very small percentage of people. I actually posted on my IG that we have currently 7.8 billion people in the world today, but yet 1% of that population controls more wealth than 50% of the rest of the world's population. So mathematically speaking, it is impossible to feel as if everybody could be successful when you have a certain small percentage that controls the power, the wealth, and the resources of this world. That's just logics. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And can everybody be successful? Can we live in a world where everybody's like living their best life? You think that's something or close to it? Maybe close to it, because there's no perfect system. There's always gonna be there's always gonna be a lot, there's gonna be a lot of people who can make it. There's gonna be a lot of people that can, right? So, but we do have to get into the system where there's more people that can make it. More opportunities.
I agree. But when you live in a system that's been basically designed to have a hierarchy of the higher up and the lower, it's always going to be that system of having that power.
And it doesn't help that a few people had a head start either.
Well, Think about these white families, man.
Yeah, they had a head start
off of slavery.
Yeah, we'll catch up in another 40,
You know
50 years.
I mean, again, though, we have to understand the history, though. I mean, we have to really inform ourselves as far as what led to why we live the way we live today. And you have to understand the history in order to
your signal
today.
Just man loud, bro.
You know? So again, though, I want to just make that clear, though. We have to really get a better understanding of our history. Like I strongly believe that if we don't really go back to our history to really understand this, then we're gonna be lost. We're gonna act as if, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, anything can be possible, which is true though, but I'm saying though, we have to get a better understanding of what we need to do right now. But in order to do that, you have to go back into your history and learn about it.
Yeah.
What we have to change so we don't have to repeat it, because the famous quote is, when you don't understand your history, history is bound to repeat itself.
Yeah. How about Marxism? What is Marxism? Let's talk about Marxism. Are you familiar with that term, with that theory, Elijah?
Yeah, I've gone it over one time in sociology, but I'm not too I'm not like a pro at it.
So basically, Marxism is a social, political, and economic philosophy named after Karl Marx, right? Which examines the effects of capitalism on labor, productivity, and economical development, and argues for a worker revolution to overturn capitalism in favor of socialism or communism. So just basically emphasizes on the struggles between social classes, which is exactly what John Tavar and you've been talking about, and basically says that capitalism is one of the root causes of unbalanced socio-economical system. Capitalism basically creates unbalanced social-economical system. Do you guys agree with that or no? Or what's your opinion on that?
1,000%. I mean, listen, when you think about one particular individual that has more wealth than an entire nation, something is very wrong.
That's Jeff Bezos, right? That's who you're.
Yeah, Jeff Bezos, yeah. Bill Gates as well. Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, and Warren Buffett. Those three individuals have more wealth than more than half of the population in the United States alone.
That's crazy. That's insane.
I mean, what more can I say?
It's insane. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
What do you think? Let me just say this real quick. Mark my words here at this episode right now, Dead at the Roundtable podcast. Jeff Bezos is going to become the first trillionaire, and I'm going to explain why. Technology, automation. Once automation becomes more advanced, where now he has machines to work for him rather than to pay employees, where he don't pay nothing anyway, he's going to accumulate so much money, so much profit, and knowing that everything's being done online now.
Yeah.
He is going to be the world's first documented trillionaire.
Oh yeah, definitely. He's on his way. Yeah, for sure. Check this out. Like, one of his key points was that that he expressed a lot was that the power relationship between capitalists and workers were going to be basically inevitably create a class conflict. So that relationship between the capitalists and the workers was going to create a class conflict, right? And it would lead to a revolution where people will overthrow the capitalist class and seize control of the economy. Did you think that's something that can happen, according to his theory, or that's something that we're far away from?
Well, it's in the Constitution that the American people can overthrow their government. It's in there.
Yeah.
You know, but people, you know,
people need to get educated
I don't know
on
if you
that.
guys, unless did you guys hear Big Mike's not Killer Mike, I'm sorry, Killer Mike's press conference the other day?
No,
I heard it. Very emotional.
So he said it the best. It's like, if you don't like what's going on, you have the power to change it through voting. You don't like this politician. You don't like that politician.
Yeah.
You don't like what's going on. You run. Make the change yourself. You know,
or
put
educate
people
yourself.
that you want.
and educate yourself.
Or
To me,
start like an organization where you bring awareness.
Start an organization, start a podcast. You know, if you are very knowledgeable about stuff, start a study group. There's nothing against having people in your house and talking about social issues. Being at protests, having your voice heard. To me, it's an excuse to give people to say, oh, I can't move out, I can't do this, I can't be successful. That's an excuse. Now, the problem that I have is that it's very difficult to live sometimes. You know, there's not a state in the United States where a person can afford to live on a minimum salary. Nowhere in the United States of America. That's a problem.
That's crazy.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
So for me, where do you measure your success? Does everybody want to be a millionaire? Why does everybody want to strive to be that? Everybody should strive
to be
unless you're willing to work. Me and you had a conversation about this.
Yeah, we had 2 days ago. Yeah, like 2 days ago.
Do you want to put in the work to become a millionaire?
No, I want to live comfortable. I want to be able to pay my bills and not worry about if I go downtown to a bar that I'm gonna be struggling for the next month because I just wasted my own savings.
That's what the problem is. It's not about. There's always going to be people who are going to be selfish. It don't matter what.
Yeah.
People are going to people are going to want more. It doesn't matter. The problem is that we should be able to live comfortable. That should be the goal for everybody.
Yeah.
And success is not measured by how much millions you have in the bank. Success should be measured by how hard you're willing to work. My godfather, Puerto Rican, ain't have a pot to piss in. This man worked his ass off to become a doctor. And a very successful one at that.
Yeah.
So you have to understand that your situation, it's your issue. You have to work hard at it.
But it definitely has to be a change in the socio-economical system for sure.
Is there roadblocks in front of it? Yes,
because
you got to work.
That's part of the reason why everything you're saying, people can't live comfortable because of the socio-economical system that we live in. That's the reason why we can't live comfortable. We got to change that. But Elijah, what are your thoughts on the last key points that we just chimed in on?
Let's see. My thoughts. You're absolutely correct. We're never going to be able to have everyone live comfortably, if you ask me. There's always going to be the bourgeoisie and the working class. The bourgeoisie, I forgot who made that term. I think it was Marxist or one of those ideologist idea people like that.
That's Karl Marx, I think, was the one.
Yeah, he made the bourgeoisie and the working class. Those are his two classes. And the bourgeoisie relies on the working class, the factory workers, the people living in poverty, while
that's the capitalists.
While they live lavishly. So it's gonna be, maybe it could happen one day, but right now I don't see everyone in a nation or the whole entire world being able to live comfortably. You know, it's always gonna be one person who makes billions while one person makes like pennies, you know, and it's sad, but I wish we could change that, but I don't think it's gonna happen anytime soon.
Okay, I mean, do you think that maybe through advocating and making political changes, you think making new rules or in our system to change that, you think that's gonna help? And what if there's a collective a collective energy towards that, basically?
So you're asking me if I think there's a way where we could change our.
Yeah. What if we can get politicians and people in power that can actually make a change so that can happen sooner than later? You think that's something that is possible, or we just like doomed to have corrupt politicians forever who are not going to do anything for us, and we're just going to have to live like this for the rest of our existence?
I don't think so. I think eventually we can get politicians who want to see everyone strive and who want to make a difference. Like Joe Biden. Not Joe Biden, I'm sorry. What's the other one's name? That everyone loves, pro marijuana.
Bernie Sanders.
Bernie. I almost said Bergie for a second. But he is a socialist, right? he wants socialism in our country, and that means that everyone gets like, you know, same salary, everyone gets equal shares and everything like that. So, you know, we already got one working towards everyone living comfortably. So who's to say we won't get any more? You know?
You're right. You're right. Yeah, it might happen, but I mean, that's one of the things that Martin Luther King tried to implement. The UBI. He was already in the talks with John F. K. With JFK about it, and you know they had like they had secret meetings in the White House about it. Unfortunately, both of them got murdered, and it probably had to be. It probably was maybe that was the cause of it because they wanted full transparency with society. They didn't want to have all these racial and class situations. You know what I mean? So and they both got murdered for it, unfortunately. And it's just like sometimes when you're trying to do good, evil prevails sometimes, and it's sad. But yeah, John Tavar.
Well, first I want to just point out this: whenever money is involved in politics, it's useless to even rely on voting. Just keep it honest. I mean, listen, I'm not trying to discourage people not to vote, but as long as money controls politics, what's the whole point? What's the whole point if you're not economically stable?
So what other method are we supposed to use? Because aren't we supposed to try to get somebody in the office who
it is very difficult. It is very difficult because again, though, these are people who rely on campaign money.
But wait,
in order for them to campaign.
There's some politicians that don't take contributions. There's some politicians they don't take contributions from like big corporations.
And they're not that successful because prime example,
Ocasio-Cortez, she's one of them. She doesn't take money from lobbyists.
I'll name one example that I actually personally donated. Yeah. I donated $200 out of my own pocket.
He froze?
For Andrew Yang. I knew already he's not backed up by these corporations because his ideas don't fit with him.
Exactly.
They don't fit with them. So he's not going to get that financial backing to campaign for him. But a person who like Trump or Biden, they're going to say certain things, but they know who they're backed up from. That's what I'm saying. When the money's in politics, it is useless. It is useless. I'm telling you, it is useless. We got to take money out of politics. That's the only way we're going to see true social change. Also, one thing I want to point out, why the hell do we have only businessmen and lawyers running government? Why we don't have engineers, scientists, technicians, people that actually know how to solve problems?
Yeah.
How to solve the ecological effect is going on in this planet right now. Why we don't have those people in government?
They got businessmen, and then they got fucking pest store owners and shit.
So there's a lot of things that we have to start questioning, man. We just cannot let this thing go bypass us and accept things the way they are because it's the way it is. We have to start really critical thinking. Period. That's it.
Yeah.
But it all starts with awareness, though. And I'm glad we have this podcast and we're able to actually spread this awareness, and hopefully it could definitely spread around to other people that are able to listen to this and hopefully gain something out of this and spread that to somebody else. Because everything begins with awareness. It does. But it's all about, again, spreading that awareness and how you take that information in and how you're able to spread it to the next person.
Absolutely, absolutely. And all of that. Where are you now, bro? You're like, you're in another protest?
Nah, I wanted to actually respond to Jason's Hold on, give me 1 second.
You already in full. You should step out so the music is not in the background.
No, I wanted to respond to Jason's. Are those people actually running? Because Killer Mike said it the best, and he made a lot of sense. It's like most people, instead of looking at what the candidate wants or what the candidate stands for and how he's getting his money, they're voting for whoever's put in front of them.
Exactly.
There are other people who are running who, if you look at their policies, might be in line with what you want. So Killer Mike said it best. You don't like your district attorney? Change it. You don't like your senator? Change it.
But how do you change it, though, Chris? How do you change it? One
by
person can't
voting,
change it,
by
bro.
voting, by voting, Jay, by
Bro,
voting.
but listen,
By
voting the
voting,
right
Jay.
person into
By
office.
voting the right person.
one,
That's it.
big
Jason,
group of
that's an
people,
excuse.
that's not gonna make nothing. It's gonna make no
But then
difference, bro.
but it doesn't matter, Jay. If you have an entire neighborhood backing somebody and voting, then you vote for that person. Now,
Man,
if he's losing the
you
votes,
got the
then
whole
what are you
idea
gonna do?
wrong, man. You got the whole idea wrong.
No, it's not about that. That's an excuse that people use to say, "Oh, I can't vote for this person because this and that and the third." You
Let
voted
me
for
explain
Andrew
to you now.
Yang, but he didn't have. Hold on, let me finish because I'm talking. He didn't have enough votes to continue. Who's to say in 4 years he's not going to be even bigger now? Because a lot of his implements, a lot of what he's been saying, people have actually been using. So in 4 years, when people actually know who he is, because if you look at a guy like Joe Biden, he's ran for presidency before. He's ran for politics. Nobody knew who Joe Biden was until he was Obama's vice president. He's 70 years old and he's already starting to become president. For some people, it takes time to build up, and you have to be willing to stay in the game.
We got it wrong.
And deal with it. I don't have it wrong, Jay. I don't have it wrong because you make an excuse about everything, and that's why I get upset. You make it's this and that and the third. People have to wake up and start looking at what the candidates and stop saying, "Oh, this is how it is." You know what, Jay? Since you talk about all this stuff, why don't you run? Why don't you? Matter of fact, I'll give you $500 and you run.
They ain't gonna do nothing. Compared to
I have money. I don't have the money. But you really want to be there and saying all this stuff. Put your money where your mouth is, brother. Go on the ballot. Run. Change the game. How about that?
Start off as a councilman.
You're talking all this stuff about or be a community leader. You're not doing nothing but sit on the podcast. You're not in the community. You don't help out. Put your money where your mouth is, bro. Come on.
All right. Elijah, you want to chime in before I chime in?
Ooh, you can go first. You can take him on.
Woo, baby, this is hot.
Nah. I'm upset right now. I'm very mad. I'm gonna get a lot of excuses that people make all the time.
Okay.
No, fuck all that shit.
I will say this: a lot of excuses, a lot of excuses are made by a lot of people, and you're right. Talking about it is not gonna make a change. You gotta be out there. You gotta start making. You gotta actually put things into action and put it into perspective and be out there. If you're worried about shit, go protest. If you want, you gotta vote people into office. Do your research, like JT did. He did his research on Yang. He thought that Yang was a legit candidate who wasn't corrupt. So he gave him $200. That's what we got to do. We got to do our research and get the right people into office by voting, because that's the only way. How else? Either that or we're going to do a revolution, but then people don't want violent protests. They want peaceful. You can't get a revolution with peaceful things. That shit makes no sense.
That's the way it is, man. And you got to do your research, and people got to be more conscious and aware of who they're voting for, of who's running.
Exactly.
You got to be more conscious about it.
You have to do your research.
Exactly. How are you gonna know if you don't look at it right now? And Killer Mike made so much sense to me, and it's like, damn, you know what?
I can't even talk.
I actually. Jay, listen to me. You don't know everything, though, bro. You don't know everything. A lot of the shit you say is ignorant.
Whatever said I know everything.
Bro, you never put your money where your mouth is, bro. I was out here protesting and
he
marching.
Just said right now, I just donated $200 to Andrew Yang.
Oh my God, Jay, you full of crap, bro. That's
how. Let's let Elijah chime in real quick.
I'm not dealing with that shit. I'm not dealing with excuses no more. You want to make a change? Get out there and do it, and that's it. That's it. I don't care. I'm so turbocharged right now. I'm so inspired, and I don't want to hear none of that bullshit. You want to make the change? Make the change.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I'm not gonna let you talk, Jay, because you don't let nobody else talk. I'm gonna let the young kid chime in right now. I'm turbocharged, and I don't care.
Elijah, what are your thoughts about everything we just talked about?
That's right there.
What are your personal thoughts?
No,
what are your personal thoughts? Let's talk about what are your personal thoughts about everything we just spoke about. That's number one. Number two, how do you think that we can possibly make a change, or what steps do you think we got to take, in your personal opinion, to try to start something at least start a change, to make a change?
To start a change in our society, I feel the first step we need to do is educate everyone, because everyone's always getting all this false information, and then they spread that, and then they get these wrong ideas. But we should just get our cold hard facts together and educate everyone. We could start with like the youth. We could start giving classes in school, making them mandatory, like sociology, psychology. We can make.
Okay, Elijah, can I cut you off right now? Sorry.
Yes, yeah, go ahead.
He just said it right now. Chris Ryder, what I do for a living? I'm an educator. Keep going, Elijah. Thank you.
Yeah, you're an educator.
I want to know. Go on, Elijah. Let's
So you make
wait, let Elijah continue.
I just wanted to say that.
Listen.
I don't give that.
Right.
Guys. All right. Let's wait until Elijah finishes because he is our guest. We have to be respectful. Once he's done, then JT, you got next.
He made me see you. I don't give nothing back. But Elijah's made a very valid point, but I had to interject and just make sure that I point that point.
And I understand that because I understand that because you felt like positive about what he was saying. But let's give Elijah a chance to finish.
Positive. It's what the facts is. I do for a living.
Let's give Elijah a chance for him to finish completely what he needs to say, and then JT can go next because Chris Wright already had his chance, so JT can go next, and then but let's let Elijah, our guest, elaborate on his ideologies about how things could change. So Elijah.
Well, picking up where I left off, I feel like education is the best way. We can educate not only the youth, but we can educate the adults because not all adults have the right idea. It's not just children, it's adults too. And we live in a society where we want to make change, but we get so many obstacles from like the government, the people, everywhere. We have obstacles everywhere. But all we need to do to take the first step is just awareness. We need everyone to get their I said it twice, cold hard facts together and actually agree upon a topic of facts, because everyone's disagreeing on this is a fact, no you're wrong, this is the fact, yeah
Absolutely. But sometimes people confuse facts for opinions. That's the thing too. But I definitely agree with you on the facts and the education portion. If we get people more educated, especially adults, there's no reason why we need to have a 77-year-old president. We can get young presidents in there, 45, 50. You don't need 40 years of being a businessman to understand politics. You could have graduated college at 23 and had a 20-year run and be 45 and become a president because you've had experience. It doesn't take you to be 70 years old. But you're right, education for adults, for the youth, and basically having facts on the table and getting rid of, because we're not going to be able to get rid of opinions, but try to use facts more often than use opinions, basically. But JT.
You took the words out of my mouth, though. Honestly, it's all about educating yourself, and not only educating yourself, but also critically thinking and know how to assess things the correct way, and just basically go by observation of what you see in front of you.
Yeah.
And it's evidence. Social inequality is real. You can't argue that. And when you think about politicians, what true significant change have you seen that's really changed this society overall? I'm gonna let you guys speak on it. What significant change have you seen so far?
Well, it's been in bits. I've seen in bits. We do have people in power that look like us now in politics. At least we have a few of them. Not a lot, but we're seeing it. Before we never saw that. Like in the 80s, early 90s, we wouldn't see that. Now in the 2000s, and especially now, after 2010, we've seen younger politicians come into Congress that look like us. Ocasio, you got the Muslim girl, you got different people that come from our neighborhoods.
Compare the ratio.
The ratio is not as much, but it's been in bits.
The ratio is ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. But we have to start off in bits. We have to start off in bits.
And to know that when you come to society itself, right?
Yeah.
Who really, again, though, runs the economy? Let's keep it 1,000%, man.
We run the economy. The consumers do.
You know what I'm saying? So these are things that are factual that you can actually see yourself.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to imply is this, though. We have to really break away from this false idea of allowing ourselves to be governed by a small group of people that dictate the way we live.
Exactly.
Because at the end of the day, we never lived in a true democracy. A true democracy is when the people, the population, are involved in government. Did you vote for the war? No, you didn't.
Right.
Did you vote for certain laws to be passed? No, you didn't. So you don't live in a true democracy. So what's the point of voting? To put someone in place to vote for you. If you have no say so in this government.
So how do we get things like that done then, Jason? Because either are you gonna go up to the White House?
Awareness and education. And that's what I do with my students. I really educate them to understand the system. I don't go by the textbook. I don't go by this whole thing as far as like trying to make students just to memorize. I want them to critically think about certain things that's going on in society. And know them that things are actually happening right now in front of your face, but you have to be actually taught to look at it from a different perspective.
And I do 100% agree with you on that. That's the way to educate, awareness, and so you can assess things the right way. But what if we don't, like, let's get to the voting part that you were saying about the voting. If we don't vote, what's the other alternative? Like, what are we supposed to walk up to the White House and just like?
You know what's crazy? As you say that, like, Dr. Claude Anderson, the book I was reading, I said it earlier, of Black Labor, White Wealth. He made this thing that it made kind of sense to me. He said, you know what? We need to withdraw ourselves from political parties and create our own parties.
Exactly. And I've been saying that plenty of times. The bipartisan system that we have is no good. It's only Democrats and Republicans that go into office.
Yeah, like, and there's a lot of other parties out there. There's a lot of other parties that people don't.
They don't make it at
all.
People
don't put themselves behind.
They don't make it. They don't make it to the secondary or primaries. They don't make it. They don't
exactly.
Make it.
And that's the problem, because the majority of the people are uneducated. And Jason, you've said it plenty of times before, and I agree with you.
They got a lock on the system.
Powers are in the numbers.
They got a lock on the system.
We have the power,
but they have a lock on the system. Like, Republicans are the same. They're both Republican. Democrats are both the same. It's just they have a little bit of different ideologies, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? They control the house. Until we get another party in there who's not one of them, it's not going to be any change.
Why in the hell do we still only have 2 political parties that run this government?
Yeah.
Because that's the people have allowed it. We have to change that, Jay. We have to change that.
Yeah, we have
to. If you want other parties in there, you got to let them in. If you ever looked at the ballot, you got like 5 different candidates from different parties. You got a Republican, Democrat, you got a Green Tea Party, you got a bunch of other people.
But you know,
we have to change. We have to make that change. Not say, oh well, I got to vote Republican. Or that's the misconception a lot of people have.
But you know what?
They have to vote into a party because that's just the way it is. We have to only we can make the change.
And the problem with the misconception comes because traditionally we've been taught that we got to vote just like our parents voted. Just because my mother liked Bill Clinton because he was a Democrat doesn't mean that I got to vote for a Democrat. You know what I'm saying? That's the where the misconception is that traditionally people vote by what their family does. You know what I'm saying? Like, if your family was Republican, you're more than likely going to vote for a Republican. We have to change that.
You got to look like, you got to look at a guy like Bernie Sanders, right? Yeah. You got to look at a guy like Bernie Sanders, right? He's a Democrat, but he's not really a Democrat. He just votes Democrat. He just puts himself as a Democrat because he has to. Because that's the party that's strong. Yeah, so he feels like in order for me to get my message across to the people, I gotta put myself as a Democrat instead, because he hates that fucking party.
He does.
He said it.
He says it.
You know, and sometimes it's like he feels
they have the juice, the Democrats or Republicans.
And
it's like 2 parties that you can vote for.
Let me try to change it from within, and that's why to me I've gotten so upset of how they've done Bernie Sanders, because they've systematically has prevented him from being president.
Yeah, absolutely. I've noticed
but,
that.
You know, I'm gonna.
He got cheated out. He got cheated out the last election. That's for sure.
Yeah,
he got cheated out.
Yeah,
but what I'm saying though, with Democrats though, they don't fight for minority votes. You know why? Because they know they have them locked in. Like you said right now.
They have them locked in.
They know already they're gonna vote for us regardless.
Because
I don't have to fight for you. I already know I got your votes locked in for me already.
Exactly, because people traditionally vote just like their parents or their family or their friends do. We got to change that mindset. And the way you do it is through education and awareness. Right?
That's the whole point.
Be a critical thinker. Think for yourself. Don't think because your moms did this, you got to do it too. Things could have been different then. Things were different.
You just can't accept things the way it is.
Yeah, things were different when they were going through their struggles. Our struggles are not the same as theirs. So we have to change the perception. Like, how many times have we been fed bullshit by the same Democrats that we supposedly are locked into? They lie to us all the time. Why did we got to switch the ideologies, man? Sometimes you have to be a critical thinker.
You have to break out, yeah,
and think
break
for
away from
yourself.
that.
Thinking for yourself and be like, okay, this makes sense for me, and this
Absolutely.
is what I'm gonna do, and not go off of tradition. Tradition is good when it comes to food and sports and shit like that, but when it comes to politics, you gotta have your own mentality about it, bro. And about social change.
Everything.
About social change, you have to have your individual mentality about social change, politics, and just anything that means something to your livelihood. You need to have a critical mindset for it.
I want to say this quick quote by George Carlin. He said, "Don't teach your children how to read. Teach them how to read, how to question things." And that right there says it all to me.
Yeah.
Teach them how to question what they read. Because we have to question things. We just can't accept things the way it is because it's basically someone that, you know, your parent, whoever it is, is telling you, and you believe it because it's so. You have to question it. You have to. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And, you know, when you actually start to critically think, you start to really open up your mind. And you cannot be so defensive when it comes about it. Because what I learned too, though, how I really communicate with people, they become very defensive when I actually present the information that goes against their belief system.
Yeah,
it kind of goes like, you know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? It's one thing I learned how to communicate. You gotta find a starting common point of how to know how to communicate with certain people, because you understand these are people that are threatened by their self-identity because their whole entire life they've been thinking about one certain way how to look at a certain thing. Yeah. So you gotta find a certain common starting point of how to really communicate that whatever you're trying to communicate with them.
Absolutely.
You know?
And
because they're very defensive.
And that's the reason why you have to be open-minded and become a critical thinker and think for yourself, and understand that you don't have to follow the masses. You don't have to follow that what your friends are doing or what your parents did. You got to be your own person and make up what you think is best for
100%,
you. And it was best for you, was best for the current times. It was best for the future that you're trying to build. You know what I mean? But guys, listen. I think we've had enough insight. Does anybody else want to chime in about anything in particular?
Well, what they want to say for our listeners, though? Okay, go ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying we should just go to final thought. But if you got something to say,
oh yeah, I want to say one thing though.
We can just go into final thought.
Never be afraid to be wrong. That's it.
Yeah.
It's one thing I learned in life. Never be afraid to be wrong, because you always have to keep an open mind to new information. That's how you learn. You cannot learn if you don't have an open mind to new information. So never be afraid to be wrong.
Is that your final thought? Or that was the final thought? Or was just something you wanted to like throw in there?
Well, you know what? To make it my final thought, I'll just add that in there then. I mean, never be afraid to be wrong. Always be, open up to new information. And, talking about the whole main topic itself, though, is social change, right? We need an economic evolution. That's it. It all stands with economics when you think about social change itself as a whole. So not until we have an economic revolution, we're not going to see true social change. That's it. I mean, leave it like that.
All right. So,
who's that background from?
Chris Ryder.
Give me a second. I'm trying to see what a good speaker. This.
All right.
I just want to say this. Elijah, you have been such a great guest, such an insightful young man, and that's the one thing that inspires me, because it's like people want to change something that's been a system that's been in place for over 300-400 years, and the change started 40-50 years ago. You can't change something that's been in place for years just like that. But we're starting to get there. People are standing up and they're not tolerating young black men dying in front of the police. You know, I was a witness to being a part of an amazing thing today and showing you guys that shit. It starts with us. We have to start that change. We have to change. We have to show our children. The one thing I'm going to teach my son, and Jay, you said it the same way, question everything. You know, get your information and then determine what's true for you, because what's true for me is not true for you. Jason is not true for Nelson. It's not even true for Elijah, you know? But we are woke enough to understand that change needs to happen. And it'll happen. We just have to start with ourselves, and it starts with our youth. It starts with educating people. Most people that I find are selfish, and they're not willing to look past their own bullshit. And I feel like we, through these podcasts, through dialogue, you know, we can make the change happen, but we have to be behind those who will make that. We cannot sit there and vote the same guy over and over and over and over again and expect change to happen. Obama was voted in because people wanted change. Then they put Trump in because they wanted even more change. So now we put Joe Biden back in the White House. That's doing the same thing, the recycling over and over again.
Yeah,
recycling. It starts with us. Yeah. It starts with us. We have to start educating ourselves. You know, and I really want people to really look at that Killer Mike and see what he said, because he made so much sense. There are people out there who are willing to fight, but we don't give them the backing. We don't support them. And then they get crushed by the big corporations because they're pouring the money down to bury them. But as a people, we have the power. If more people vote for Andrew Yang than they did other people, he'd be up there.
Yeah, absolutely.
But people didn't educate themselves about him. Jay, you educated yourself about that man, and you decided that he worked for you because he was in line with your ideals.
Yeah.
We have to be a people that are willing to work and to put people in place and to be more mindful of what we want in place. Because if we continue to vote the same people in, it's never going to change. That's why if you look at the current senators now, it's starting to change. They're starting to vote out a lot of these old white men, and they're starting to put people of color, women in place to work for us, because that's the only way. That's the only way. We got to get out there, man. We got to get out there, and we got to start being vocal about shit and teaching our youth.
Yeah.
And that's it. And you know what? I've been noticing that a lot of young people are really, really being more woke. They're being more smarter. They're being more intellectual. And, you know, it's amazing to see. And that's something I'm going to teach my son. I'm going to make sure that he understands. And he's woke. And woke doesn't mean that you know information. No. Woke is meaning you doing something to change the narrative. That's what being woke is.
Both information and doing something about
information and being and doing something about it. That's what being woke is. Because if you just sit down and do nothing and you just want to spit facts and you're not doing nothing about it, then you're not woke. You're just complaining.
Yeah. You're just like a nagging girlfriend.
Yeah, like, oh, this is not right because it is.
You left your shoes out again? What the hell?
You know?
Put your socks away.
Shout out to Aisha, who was on the show, that she's out there, you know?
Yeah.
Your friend. And that's where we got to be. And to me, it started with me today being out there, you know, marching with my brothers and sisters to show these cops that they cannot murder us no more, man. We're not going to take that shit no more, man.
Yep.
There's ways to be a police officer, and a good one. Yeah. And the good cops have to start policing their own. I don't know if you guys saw that Seattle video with the cop, when the cop had his knee on that protester the same exact way George Floyd, that he had on George Floyd. And that cop told him, get your knee off his neck. And he ended up moving his knee off that man's neck.
Yeah.
That's the cops we need.
Yeah, we need the good cops to start holding the bad cops accountable too. But yeah, listen, Chris, you hit a lot of good points, man. You definitely had a lot of great insight today. I appreciate you going down there, bro, and getting in the heat of things and letting our listeners listen to what was going on down there, and for our viewers to experience it through our videos on YouTube. But just to say something, Elijah, I do really appreciate you. You are a very prime example of young educated a young educated person who's trying to make change and speak about things that matter that are going to help us build a better future. But Elijah, since you're our guest on our show, I want to give you the opportunity now to end it off with your piece. Doesn't matter how long it takes. Spit your shit, brother, and let us know how you really feel.
Hit that G shit, brother.
All right. I agree with what both of you just said. We live in a society where we're kept in place and we don't want to be kept in that place anymore. And the only way that we can make a difference is if we change it. And if we don't change it, we're going to keep facing all this inequality. We're going to keep facing all this racism, all this economic injustice. We're going to be kept in place forever unless we make a change, unless we make different parties, unless we spit out brand new ideas. I'm more liberal than conservative because I want to make changes. I don't want to keep us exactly where we are. I want everyone to experience what it's like to be equal and happy and all that. I don't want to be kept in place. I don't want my children to be kept in place. I don't want future generations of minorities to be oppressed and kept in place in this free country, you know? That's pretty much all I got to say.
Yeah, man, that's dope, man. I definitely like that. Keep in place, non-programmable. That's the key. Non-programmables. We don't want to be programmed anymore. We want to be, well, not us. We're not programmed here because obviously we're voicing our opinions and we're against, the traditional situation they've tried to implement on us. But we want the rest of the world to be on that same level where they have the ability to not stay in place or be put into places, right? So that's a great, definitely ideology. I love that. I appreciate your thoughts today, Elijah. My final thought, I just want to basically give a quote out from Craig Kallenberger, which is a Canadian civil rights activist. That's how I am going to end it off. It's easier to be arrogant and say I don't know about the problem, but once you've seen it in their eyes, then you have a responsibility to do something. There is strength in numbers, and if we all work together as a team, we can be unstoppable. So that quote definitely resonates a lot with me for two reasons. If you know the problem and you see it, talk about it and take action. Just don't spread a narrative and be hiding behind closed doors and not going out there and really making the changes. Start at home with your family, and then start with your community. Start, making changes at your job or at a place that you go for recreational purposes. That's that part of it, right? And yes, when we work together, we work better. And I'm a big believer in that. That the strength are in numbers, and we just got to get better as a society, working together and spreading awareness. And that's my final thought. Then at the Roundtable Podcast, Elijah, thanks for coming on the show. John Tavar in the house. Chris Ryder as usual. Anything you guys want to say before we end it off?
Well,
I just want to
say, what
say,
you said though. You guys
like,
what you say. You kind of inspiring
you guys
right
sounded
now,
off at the same time.
nah. I'm gonna make it real quick. I was a little hyped. I'm sorry. I got a little hyped. I was in the middle of the shit, so I got a little hyped. That shit.
I thought he was gonna shank you via.
That shit. Bro, I was in the middle of that shit.
Yo,
man.
JT, I thought he was in a virtually shank you in virtual.
Nah,
virtual
but
mode.
it's just I've become so passionate. And I called Nell the other day, and I was so mad, and we had like an hour talk about shit. But I was in the shit, brothers. Shit.
Yeah, we spoke.
I was in there.
We spoke that we even cried together.
I was in there, and that shit had me kind of hyped. So I'm not I don't know. I'm just mad motivated.
Watch out if you want to go looting now, brother. You hype, still hype.
Yeah, be careful out there.
Nah, I ain't about that looting life. I ain't trying to get shot with tear gas. Nah,
well, don't loot on the hand that feeds you. Don't go looting meat and shit.
I mean, hey, listen, there was in the Apple store. I was waiting for them to break into Verizon so I could run in there and get an iPad for the iPhone 11 real quick. Give me that shit.
Oh man, What if they
That's
have
cool, though.
find my iPad app on it? You would have got caught, brother. Caught you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. But anyway, man, yo, guys, I appreciate the conversation
Oh,
today.
no,
Oh, you gotta say something?
I gotta add something on, like.
You had your final thought. You was gonna say something.
I know right now, like.
Or you was gonna say one more thing before we ended it off?
No. Chris Ryder. I mean, I don't want to interrupt him. You know what I'm saying? Gotta be polite. You know what I'm saying? I don't interrupt as he's trying to make it seem as if I do, but I don't.
No, there was
I always make sure everybody.
There was certain instances that you interrupted tonight. I see that, bro. We got it a lot. We got it on camera.
What?
We have proof. We have proof.
Oh no, I interjected Elijah. I did.
A couple of times. It's okay. Everybody else.
No, one time. Let's be fair. Let's not be, you know what I mean? Let's just be fair. Let's be honest.
As long as we
go back to your
interject.
brother again, we can retract that. You know what I'm saying? We can do
As long as we interject politely, I think it's cool. If we interject politely, we're like, yo, hold on.
No, but I mean, you know, when you're in the emotions, though, I get it, though. Especially when you actually been through what you've been through. So when I speak, I speak. You get what I'm saying? I speak. I don't just say things. I say it because I say from experience. That's the major difference. So I want to make that clear. Like, I'm not just speaking to say it. I don't just say something because I say it. I say it because I'm speaking from experience. So when I speak about, you know what I mean, social change, I'm talking about experience, though. Because obviously, I'm a first generation born from my family. I've been through poverty. I've been through hell. So when I say something, I'm speaking from experience. And
you're
an
educator too, so you know that aspect as well too.
Yeah, man. So I'm speaking from every little thing I've been through out of my years on this planet Earth.
But you also gotta understand that your own personal experience, you can't, you know, that not everybody has gone through that too. So, you know,
but I speak for experience that I educate the youth that they can relate to me.
Exactly.
And that's what makes me so different from other people that do not come from my culture, from my background, that cannot talk the way I can talk to the young generation. Because I can relate to them, because I've been there already.
Yeah, but the goal too should be to educate people who don't have that same culture and background, so they can get an understanding too.
Right, absolutely.
But vice versa, 100%. Right?
But the problem is this, though. Me, the way I look, I cannot educate people who don't look like me because they won't allow it. They won't put me in a building to educate people that don't look like me.
Even if you had all the credentials, you don't think?
Bro.
Or what if you had a white friend? What if you had a white friend with power? What if you had a white friend with power? You think you get you in there?
It don't matter nothing. Listen, watch the movie called The Banker.
The Banker.
With Samuel L. Jackson. It's a great movie. Where they actually had to have a white man to portray as the banker, as far as like the CEO, for them to actually run the bank. Because they couldn't do it because of the way they look.
Didn't they try to ban that movie, though?
JT, listen. I know a guy, a white guy with power. He might be able to get you in to the Dalton School of Finance to see maybe you can get there, brother. So it's one of the top schools in the nation.
I appreciate all that, but I want to end off with this final quote, though. I mean, definitely, I want to piggyback what you said, though. Albert Einstein, he definitely said something like, he says, the world is not a dangerous place, not because of those who do evil, but because of those who look on and do nothing. And when you say do nothing, you got to be very mindful of what he means by that. When you stay silent, when you don't speak up, when you don't spread that awareness, when you don't actually do something about it. So it's very important that we actually speak up and say something. Because mind you, I really applaud all these people that risk their lives. Like Malcolm X, he knew he was going to die. MLK, he knew he was going to die. These are people that made a sacrifice knowing that they're going to die eventually because of what they're trying to spread that awareness for. So that's my final thought, my second final thought, but I want to make sure I add that on.
Round two fight. Yeah. But yeah, man, you're absolutely right. And listen, man, the sole meaning of life, bro, is to serve humanity. That's all I got to say. Dinner at the Round Table Podcast. Elijah, thanks for coming on, man. I love you guys. I love the little steel cage match we had today with you guys. And yo, Chris, thanks a lot for being down there in the heat of the action.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man. John Tavar, man. I like that hat, brother. You look like one of those duck hunters. and shit.
I got a quote like, yo, Jay, you like a fucking 2004 John Tavares.
Word. You look like a young spanking John Tavares there, buddy. But yeah, man, we're gonna end it off, man. Shout out to our listeners out there. Social change was the topic of the day, and I think we had a great dialogue. What do you guys think before we ended up with some music? Elijah, were you content with our podcast?
Everyone got to speak their opinion, which is like what's most important. So
yeah,
pretty
good,
successful.
good. We definitely want to have you back on the show.
Shout out to
for a different episode.
I wanted to say something. Shout out to John B's father.
Oh, really? Is his birthday today? Or he was watching you on IG?
No, he just posted a picture up with John Tavares t-shirt on.
Oh, word. That's what's up. That's what's up. But listen, Elijah, we're gonna have you on the show one day. I'll talk to you. We'll reach out to you about a different type of topic that you could chime in. You're a very well-rounded young man, and you're very educated. I'm sure that anything we throw at you, you'll be able to talk about. So we're gonna have you on the show again soon. We appreciate you, man, and be easy with it in Jersey, man. It hasn't hit in Jersey except in Newark, so you know what I'm saying. Let's see what happens. Hopefully, it doesn't hit the nice area where you live at.
And shout out to all the protesters, man. Y'all the MVPs for real, yo. King staying calm when I was there. Y'all the real MVPs, man. Keeping it positive.
All right, guys. So you already know. We out of here. Dinner at the Round Table Podcast.
Thank you for having me, man. I really appreciate the experience. I just want to throw that out right before I leave.
All right, Elijah, you already know, man. We appreciate you, bro. Have a good night. We'll see you next time, bro. We're definitely going to have you back on the show, brother.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Peace out, man.
Anytime.
And I'm going to lose my motherfucking mind in 3 different legends, 3 different problems, 3 different times. I'm broken hearted. I'm going to sit in the middle of a mosh pit, listening to all 3 legends at once then. What's next? Am I the next legend to pop up dead? I hope not. But I believe in God, but I don't trust in God. He's taking all the good and leaving the bad alive. And I'm glad to say that I'm scared to die. And I'm mad to say that 3 legends died. And I'm sick and tired of people always lying, like people crying cause their relatives died. Right? And they mad they cried. Yeah, whoa, and I'm sad inside. Why do these legends keep on dying? I'm just sitting here crying. I'm sick of these legends dying, and I'm gonna lose my motherfucking mind. And first you took Peep, then you took X, and now you took Juice WRLD. What the fuck is with that? I am not glad, I'm really mad, I'm fucking sad. 3 legends are dead. And people are really sad, and I'm really mad. What the fuck is with that? Yeah, it's just crazy that they really had to go. Why'd you take them so young? What the fuck, bro? We're like the 1800s, babies, we ain't living long. I'm telling you, take me right now, I'm not done, whoa. I hope I'm not being controversial, I'm just telling the truth. Oh no, what is wrong with this world? We gotta go, we ain't making it past 21. Oh no, it's like Back to the Future, more like Back to the Past. I don't know about ya, but I am not doing that. I am not moving back, I'm just speaking straight facts. I'm not talking no trash, no trash, no trash.
Try to tell me what to do, I won't do it though. Taking people so young, I don't get it well. Might as well